Okay, here we go. Proverbs chapter 14. I meant to record this earlier, but here we go. The wise woman builds her house, but the foolish pulls it down with her hands. A lot I could unpack with this. Again, here's another one of those verses that is directed to women and talking about how she manages and handles her home, her house. And I like the symbolism of pulling it down with her hands. That means she's the one that's physically doing it. It's her own work. It's her own craftsmanship, let's say. I mean, as a woman, you have the ability to uplift your family, pray for your family, encourage your husband, pray for your spouse, and let's not, I mean, even in the homemaker setting, what am I trying to say? The nesting. Women love to have a home that they can decorate and make it their own and put the little plaques up. And, in this day and age, make sure you have the live, laugh, love plaque up. Just kidding. But seriously. Anyways, but my point is that as a woman, you certainly have this to make a house, a home. A man will never make, I shouldn't say never, but generally speaking, a man will never make a house, a home. That's just a woman's gift, That's just something she excels at. You look at bachelors and they have like a chair and a TV and a bed, and that's it. And women, it drives women crazy that they're like, how can you live like that? And guys are just like, what are you talking about? This is perfect. Like, I have nothing. Like, this is great. Very minimal. Now, again, there's some guys out there who, decorate their whole house and do all this stuff and have all these things and whatnot and spend their money. But most guys aren't, generally speaking, aren't like that. But again, take any woman, even if she's single or whatever, she's got decoration, she's got this up, she's got that up. But anyways, the flip side, like I already mentioned, is the foolish pulls it down with their own hands. And this is like, I would say there would be a line that you cross where you are controlling every aspect of the home and every aspect of the house. Like, it's your nesting, it's your place, it's where you want to feel safe and comfortable and make it your own. And I think that's all fair. But at some point, you still have to be able to, hand over or delegate responsibility and not try to micromanage or control every little detail. And sometimes I think, as a man, this could sound like nagging or, doing this or doing that. And some things, you just have to overlook, I suppose. But anyways, this is generally speaking, but keep that in mind. Women, keep that in mind. You have a lot of influence over your own home. Anyways, verse 2. He who walks in his uprightness fears the Lord, but he who is perverse in his ways despises him. Again, reoccurring theme. You want to walk uprightly. You want to walk in righteousness. You want to fear the Lord. If you're perverse, you're going to despise the Lord. And I don't want to be in that position. Verse 3. In the mouth of a fool is a rod of pride. Remember in the previous chapter, I talked about pride. This is a big deal. You have to humble yourself. You have to. Otherwise, it's just going to take you nowhere. But the lips of the wise will preserve them. Verse 4. Where no oxen are, the trough is clean. That is a weird word, trough. Look at that word in the English language. It makes no sense. But much increase comes by the strength of an ox. I look at this in a business sense. Not saying that this is the only way, but to grow your home, to grow your household, to grow your business or whatnot, you need to invest. You can only do so much with the work of your own hands. Buying an ox adds to that. An ox was a symbol of strength. It's one of the first letters of the Hebrew alphabet. And, I mean, it's so obvious, but that's the symbolism there. Buy an ox to do all the work, do all the heavy lifting. Take those burdens off your hand. It's better to pay somebody. And I've learned this many, many times in business. I will struggle and work my butt off, to try to get ahead on this, that, or the other. And a lot of times, I think I'm saving money. But then when I spend the money to take that hat off, as I would say, that job off my plate, I'm actually able to get other things done that will help me make more money in certain regards. And now the strength of that individual is doing that load and doing that work for me. Anyways, moving on. Verse 5. A faithful witness does not lie. We already mentioned this, I think it was like 2 chapters ago. But a false witness will utter lies. Boy, does that drive you crazy, right? You know when somebody's lying. Especially when you're the one that holds the truth. It drives you nuts. And then trying to convince whomever it is that you're trying to convince, in this sense, it's a witness. So when you're trying to witness and share your side, if you will, it's crazy when people are believing the other side. Drives me nuts. Verse 6, a scoffer seeks wisdom and does not find it because they're too busy scoffing. They're too busy, complaining, making fun, bullying. Of course they're not going to find wisdom. But knowledge is easy to him who understands. Remember, get understanding, get wisdom. Verse 7, go from the presence of a foolish man when you do not perceive in him the lips of knowledge. This is any kind of debate, argument, conversation, fill in the blank. It's sad. It happens many, many times. And you're not going to change their mind. Only God, only if they desire to seek wisdom, will a fool change. I've learned this. It's just foolish people are foolish. Straight up. There's no changing these individuals unless they choose to change. And remember, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So unless they are willing to fear the Lord, humble themselves, and fear the Lord, they're going to stay foolish. It's very sad. So if you're with an individual who's like this, or a friend or a close friend, and you want them to change or do this, that, or the other, you got to pray that they would fear the Lord. You have to pray that they would humble themselves. Otherwise, they are going to stay in their foolishness. Straight up. Anyways, it's sad when you do have to leave that person, but if it's a close friend, that's when it's sad. But if it's just an acquaintance or just somebody you're talking to, you can just tell the conversation is it's nowhereville, and it's just a black hole, and I'm over this conversation. I'm done. Anyways, verse 8, the wisdom of the prudent is to understand his way, but the folly of fools is deceit. Verse 9, fools mock at sin. Ugh, that's interesting. Why would you mock at sin? Because you think you don't do it? But among the upright there is favor. Praise the Lord. Verse 10, the heart knows its own bitterness. Ain't that the truth? I talked about this, in chapter 13, hope deferred. It's just your heart knows these things. Anyways, a heart knows its own bitterness, and a stranger does not share its joy. Interesting. I'm going to read my commentary on this and just verbatim. Inner pain and happiness are very private matters, not fully understood by others. There you go. There you go. That's a good way to put it. Never thought about it like that. We can always reflect and empathize and sympathize with people, but we've never walked in their shoes. We can have very, very, very similar experiences, of course, and we can relate, but ultimately we never know deep down what's going on in their heart. Jesus is really good at that. Anyways, verse 11, the house of the wicked will be overthrown. Again, I would love to see this on a daily basis. But the tent of the upright will flourish. Praise the Lord. We want to flourish. There is a way, verse 12, there's a way that seems right to a man, but its end is the way of death. This is just a very simple, blatant statement. Choose wisely. Verse 13, even in laughter the heart may sorrow, and the end of mirth may be grief. It's basically saying, what's going on in the outward may not reflect what's going on in the inward. And many times we'll cover things up. I think of people who go to bars, they get drunk or they're having a good time. And nothing against that if, that's your thing or what have you. I don't think you should be getting drunk. But a lot of times, those things are self-soothing. They're medications, they're Band-Aids. And we're doing these things to try to put on a happy front. But deep down inside, we're still really hurting. So, not that this was related to alcohol. I'm just using that as an example. Verse 14, the backslider in heart will be filled with his own ways, but a good man will be satisfied from above. That's really good. That's really good. That actually kind of challenges me a little bit. I just feel like this is me trying to find joy, peace, happiness with myself, with what I can accomplish. Yet, a good man will be satisfied from above. And then I think of the verse in the New Testament, every good and perfect gift is from above, is from God. So that's the gifts that we should be striving for. That's the joy and the peace and the things that would satisfy our heart. Verse 15, the simple believes every word, but the prudent considers well his steps. I think I gotta say this, I feel like I fall in this category too, because I do believe, at face value, I'll believe anybody. I really will. Unless they've given me a track record or something to say that they're liars or that they've lied or that they've. I remember when I was 15, 16 years old, the pastor that I was under used to say this all the time. If the man is no good, his word is no good. If his word is no good, the man is no good. It's a silly little, I don't know what those kinds of sayings are called, but where you just say the phrase, but you say it backwards and forward. Anyways, I'm sure there's a saying for it or a term for it. Anyway, me, myself, personally, I will listen to people first time and I'll believe them. I will. I think discernment is important, of course, as it says in the New Testament, but you generally don't want to judge somebody either. And then there's obviously red flags. Red flags are, you can see this in dating, you can see this in friendships, you can see this in business, all sorts of different things. But I think that's different, but I don't know. Sometimes maybe maybe this is a good word for myself to not believe every word every time. But the prudent considers well his steps. Verse 16, a wise man fears and departs from evil. That's right. But a fool rages and is self-confident. Man, again, I've seen this many a times. Believing in oneself, that's a pride thing. Not that there's anything wrong with being self-confident. I'm self-confident in the gifts that God has given me. I'm self-confident in my walk with the Lord. I'm self-confident in my walk with Christ. I'm self-confident in the abilities that are inside. Like, what am I trying to say? The power that rests inside of me through Christ Jesus. I'm confident in those things, but ultimately they're the Lord's. But I think what this is saying is, you just believe in yourself, which, again, nothing wrong with that, but you're utilizing it in a prideful way. Verse 17, a quick-tempered man acts foolishly, and a man of wicked intentions is hated. This is true, too. I mean, I don't even need to explain this. I shouldn't have to explain all this, right? This is just me giving a commentary on the Proverbs anyways, right? So, well, take it or leave it, I guess. If you're listening, awesome. I appreciate it. Anyways, verse 18, the simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. It's awesome. I want to have a crown of knowledge. They always say knowledge is king. I remember in high school, friends would wear that t-shirt. Knowledge is king. Knowledge is power. Yeah, it's true. Verse 19, the evil will bow before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous. Again, I would love to see this. Not just, I keep saying this, and this isn't like to puff the righteous up or puff God the up. But I don't like seeing evil. I don't like seeing a lot of things that goes on behind the scenes. I don't like a lot of the things I see, honestly, that goes on in our country behind closed doors. Just again, I try to be very, very, very non-political. So I just nonchalantly mention these things. But, with everything that was going on during the presidency of Donald Trump, the media was all over Donald Trump. But when Epstein came about and some of these other pedophile rings started coming out, like, boy, that stuff was swept under the rug. And somebody made one of those political cartoons about the elephant in the room, and maybe you've seen it. And there was just this giant elephant in the room, but the media had all their cameras and microphones and everything pointed at, like, this one, I don't know, FBI or Department of Justice, I don't know who it was. Some political official, and on the elephant it just said, pedophiles or something like that, pedophile ring or something like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, boy, this could not be more true. We have the ability right now to uncover a hell of a lot of evil that is going on this planet, not just in this country. And the media ignored it, and it blew my mind. It blows my mind, but that's what I think of when I read verses like this. So that's why I would love to see these things happen, honest with you. The evil will bow before the good, and the wicked at the gates of the righteous. I would love to see that. Anyways, verse 20. The poor man is hated even by his own neighbor, but the rich has many friends. This is true, man. When you're rich, everybody wants to be your friend. Look at Hollywood stars. Man, the second you go broke, nobody's your friend no more. You ain't nobody, right? Boy, this is the truth. Ugh, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world but loses his soul? Anyways, the poor man is hated even by his own neighbor. And you know why that is? Because they're always like poor. They're always like, can I bomb a cigarette? Can I bomb this? Can I borrow some money? Can I borrow a ride? Can I get some bread? Can I get this? Can I get that? Can I borrow some milk? Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Come on, man. Go get a job. Go make your own. Not that there's anything wrong with helping the poor, of course. But that's why Solomon is saying this, is because at some point it gets annoying. It drives you crazy. Ugh, anyways, verse 21. He who despises his neighbor sins. But think of the Ten Commandments, right? Don't covet your neighbor's stuff. Anyways, but he who has mercy on the poor, happy is he. I just got done saying the poor annoys us, and now here we are reading, but he who has mercy on the poor, happy is he. Look, it's true if you have mercy on the poor, of course, but it doesn't mean it doesn't bug you. Again, I can give a very good example. I had an employee last year, and I helped her out tremendously. Loaned her a travel trailer. She could live in it for a few months. I was paying her rent, all this stuff. You know what? It ended up just costing me way too much money. And as much as I was trying to help, it just wasn't going anywhere. And I finally had to pull the plug. And this was like around Christmas time. And I was just like, look, I'm sorry. At the end of the month, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. You have to get yourself settled. Like, I've got no work for you. You know, you're living rent free. I don't think you're ever going to pay me back. You know, so in my heart, you know, I was happy to be helping somebody who was in need. Always, I'm okay with that. But it did turn around and become verse 20, where it started, you know, I was getting really irritated with this individual. So I could see both sides, of course. Anyways, verse 22. Do they not go astray who devise evil? But mercy and truth belong to those who devise good. Amen. In all labor, verse 23, in all labor there is profit. See, every labor, you sitting on your butt being lazy, there's no labor. You getting government checks every month, there's no benefit to this. Nothing. I mean, there's just none. There's profit in labor, in your own labor. Again, I think this is why I mentioned this in the previous chapter, why the Lord had me come off of any type of government assistance, because he knew there was no profit of it. I would never grow. You will never be rich staying on government assistance. Now, I know there's certain people out there who manipulate the system, but again, generally speaking, you're going to be stuck. You're going to be in poverty. This is going to be how you are until you lift a finger and try to help yourself. There's people, again, just because I've had a business, I've employed a lot of people. And I've got stories about all of them, you know, and I've got examples about all these people, and nothing against them, you know. Some I would rehire and some I wouldn't. But nevertheless, you know, I look at certain examples and certain people who I wanted to give a raise to, they were like, I can't. And I was like, why? They're like, because I'm on government assistance. I'm like, do you not realize, like, yes, it's going to set you back. I get it. Like, you're making more kind of right now in benefits. But at the same time, like, I could potentially continue to give you raise, make you a manager, whatever, and then, you know, really bless you. And like, you know, just to be honest, when I first started my business, this was 10 years ago, I didn't really start it, whatever. Doesn't matter. Let's just go with, it was like 12 years ago, but be that as it may, I was paying my employees like $9 or $10 an hour, you know, and this was well above minimum wage. Minimum wage has been like $7 and change for like ever. And it's finally bumped up. I'm in the state of Colorado, and now we're up to like $13. No, 12.25. No, it's like 12.32. It's dumb. What's the 2 pennies for? Anyways, regardless, I've always tried to stay $1 above the minimum wage, and I would always do that to entice my employees to get better employees, etc., etc. But now it's really hard. It's honestly really hard for me to do that. But my point is that, you know, I've had employees who have started at $12 that are making $20 now. And for some people, they're like, oh, that's nothing. You should be paying them 50. You know, I just get tired of those kinds of people, honest with you. You should be paying them this. You should be run your own business. Run it into the ground. Do whatever you got to do. I don't really care. You don't understand basic economics, but rant over. Anyways, my point is that you're never going to get ahead if you're constantly just being in need and impoverished and not benefiting from your own labor. Like I said this in the previous chapter, you know, learning a skill set, you know, getting good at things that are beneficial to a society that you live in. You know, it's obviously what I'm saying. I could tell you to go learn, I don't know, learn construction. Well, maybe if you live in Italy, that's worthless, right? I don't know. My point is like, there's a lot of demand for a lot of jobs right now. And I look at job boards and job posts, and there are so many jobs right now being posted, even in the middle of a pandemic. And so many people are just getting government handouts, and it's scary. It's terrifying. And it is really hard for me to compete with the government. And people are like, well, see, you got to pay your people more. And I was like, you don't get it. You really don't get it. You don't understand. They're just printing money. Anyways, enough about that. Let's get back to what I'm talking about. In all labor, there is profit. All right. But idle chatter leads only to poverty. Now, this is something I deal with a lot. I something I learned in a mentorship program that I'm a part of, and it broke my heart. I will tell you, it broke my heart. And that was idea people. They ranked people in like, I'm gonna botch this. They're way better at talking about this because they're mentors and they're business mentors. They had like 5 categories of the individual in the business or manager or whatever. It doesn't matter the role, but the lowest was the idea person. So me, that's me. I got a lot of ideas, great ideas, and I used to think, man, that's powerful. I had all these great ideas. But then I started meeting other people in business that had a lot of ideas, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. Like everybody's got ideas. And then way early on, a different mentor, he told me ideas are not the problem. Execution is, getting it done. And I didn't understand that at first, but now I really do. Being after 10 years in a business, execution is very tough. And so these business mentors said if you can be the execution person, not executioner, but if you can be the person that executes these things and makes sure they're done into completion, you're the most valuable person to that company or that whatever, or you're the best CEO or whatever it is. So I'm trying to get to that point. So, but my point is going back to the second part of the verse 23, idle chatter leads only to poverty. I can talk a lot about my business and all the dreams and the visions and the ideas and this and that, but they are meaningless. They are absolutely meaningless. So if you're hearing this and you've got all these big ideas, they are meaningless until you can put pen to paper, and then you can put paper to fruition, and then they listed out steps. Again, I can't think of the words, but they laid it out in steps. You got to put pen to paper. You got to put this, that. You basically got to do it. You just get up or shut up, right? Put up or shut up, or whatever these phrases are that people have out there. I don't know. Anyway, so idle chatter leads only to poverty. Don't just talk about it, man. Just do it. Get up there and do it. Verse 24, the crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly. We've already gone over this. Verse 25, a true witness delivers souls. What does that mean? Saves lives? This ties back to Ezekiel. I know these verses in Ezekiel too. I'm pretty sure I know what they're talking about. It says, a true witness saves souls, but a deceitful witness speaks lies. Again, this is interesting that Solomon wrote this. Was he foreshadowing the New Testament, the New Covenant? I don't know. I don't understand how this would have applied in the Old Testament at all. Maybe in battle, maybe in war, maybe in a fight. I don't know. But obviously we can relate it to the New Testament. Saving people is the number one thing. I've always said this, regarding healing or, blessing people, giving people money, poor people, whatever, fill in the blank, doesn't matter. We can help people in so many ways, and James talks about this. But ultimately, the most important thing before you take your last breath is knowing Jesus Christ. Doesn't matter if you got healed or not. Doesn't matter if you were blessed or not. Doesn't matter if you walked in grace or not or whatever. None of those things matter. At the end, the thing that matters the most is, did you know Jesus? So, yeah, verse 26. In the fear of the Lord, there is strong confidence. So this is what I was talking about earlier. I have self-confidence in the ways of the Lord, but it starts by having the fear of the Lord. I'm no better than God, obviously, and God could squish me like a little bug. And a lot of people say, well, it's not talking about that kind of fear. And I think it actually talks about both. The reverence of the Lord, respect and reverence of who he is, that he is, God, period. I am, period, right? And then the other fact that, yes, I should actually fear him in trembling, because he could technically take me out with just a word, and that would be that. But again, I know my Lord, and I know my God, and I know my Father, and I know he loves me and cares about me, and it's not in his best interest to, take me out just like that. But nevertheless, it doesn't mean I should ever overstep that boundary, let's say. Anyways, and his children will have a place of refuge. Hallelujah. When I see the word refuge, I always think of Psalms 90. Is it Psalm 90? Psalm 91? The Lord is my strong tower, my refuge. Verse 27, the fear of the Lord is a fountain of life. We talked about the fountain of life yet in chapter 13. To turn one away from the snares of death. Wait, am I reading this? Is this not the exact same verse? I have a really, really good memory. For those that know me, I have a really good memory. But if you tell me something right now, like if I'm at work or business or something, and my assistant or whomever, they tell me this, that, or the other, 2 seconds later, I forgot it. I'm like, oh my gosh, please write it down and then go over it with me, because I don't know what we're talking about. Anyways, but in terms of the Bible and just memories and things like that, I have a really, really good memory. Let's see. Verse 14, so 13:14. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. So the law of the wise, and over here it's saying The fear of the Lord is a fountain of life. The law of the wise and the fear of the Lord is a fountain of life, to turn one away from the snares of death. So there you go. Verse 28. In a multitude of people is a king's honor, but in the lack of people is the downfall of a prince. I think this is just saying have wise counsel. Just have godly, wise counsel surrounding you. People that are going to uplift you, support you. I don't think you need yes people in your life. I think yes people are good in some situations. And if you don't know what I mean by yes person, that just means the person that agrees with everything you say. That's bad. You need somebody that's going to rub you a little bit, that's going to be straight up. Like, there are certain personal and office assistants that I hire because they counterbalance me. They keep me in line. They keep me in check, so to speak. They keep me grounded. People that are just like, yes, yes. Like, again, obviously I want you to do the job that I asked you to do. Yes, do the job. But this is a little different what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I think it's just good to have the right kind of people surrounding you. Anyways, verse 29, he who is slow to wrath has great understanding. Look, if you can control your temper, like you can control your tongue, you're a profound, wise person, straight up. You just are, okay? That doesn't mean you take punches with your face like Rocky Balboa. What that means is you're just able to de-escalate situations. You're able to withhold your own wrath. I've heard a phrase saying, knowing that you could probably eliminate that individual in a fight or a war, a battle, or kill him or whatever, but you choose not to. It's not somebody who chooses not to, but deep down they couldn't hurt a fly, if that makes sense. Anyways, I wish I had the phrase in front of me because it sounds way better than what I just said. Anyways, verse 30, or finishing verse 29, but he who is impulsive exalts folly. Again, foolish, folly go hand in hand. Doing them up. Look at bar fights. It's foolishness. It's crazy, Tim. Anyways, verse 30, a sound heart is life to the body, but envy is rottenness to the bones. Man, again, there's some truth to that. Ooh. Don't be envying things. It's just rottenness all the way to the core, to your bones, right? That's bad. Verse 31, he who oppresses the poor reproaches his maker, but he who honors him has mercy on the needy. Again, there's a balance. You always want to take care of the poor. Remember what Jesus said, because why did Jesus take care of the poor that one time when, who was it? Oh, somebody said, hey, why don't we give this money to the poor? And Jesus is like, you know what? Oh, it was Judah. I think it was Judah. When Mary was pouring the alabaster bottle, maybe? I might be mixing stories up, but, she was pouring the oil all over Jesus' feet. I think it was Judas was like, this is a waste. What are you doing with this stuff? This is a waste. We could have used this to help the poor. Yeah, right, thief. Okay, shut up. You're lying. You are projecting, as I mentioned the other day. But what did Jesus say? Jesus said, the poor is always going to be on the earth. Always. There's always going to be poor. There's people that think they're going to eradicate poor. But still, we should still do our best to help them. But I'm just taking it all into contents. That's all. There's just, time for this, time for that. Verse 32, the wicked is banished in his wickedness, but the righteous has a refuge in his death. It's nice. It means it feels like you have peace, solidity. I don't know. Just feels nice, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. Verse 33, wisdom rests in the heart of him who has understanding. Yep. But what is in the heart of fools is made known. This stuff comes out. Remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. We will get to that verse at some point. Righteousness, verse 34. Righteousness exalts. Wisdom rests in the heart of him who has understanding, but what is in the heart of fools is made known. Righteousness exalts a nation, but... Oh, where was I? Verse 33. Wisdom rests in the heart of him who has understanding. Yes, it does. It just gives you so much tranquility. But what is in the heart of fools is made known. Verse 34. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Yeah, you can see this in any political country, any political scope. It's crazy. Verse 35, the king's favor is towards a wise servant. This is true. Again, I know I use a lot of business examples, but this is what's fresh to me. I used to be in Bible school, and I used to be over students and things, so I could use that as well, but I ain't trying to throw no students under no bus. It's Bible school. We were college-age kids. But seriously, this is so true, man. Like, people are like, oh, they're a goody-goody, or you can buy them coffee, you buy them lunch, why don't you do that for me? Well, show me you're worth it, And again, I've bought every single one of my employees lunch. I bought all my employees, a snack or drink or slipped them $5 or $20 here and there just to bless them. People are like, oh, $5 or $20, you're making millions, you're making so much money. You have no idea. Yeah, so look, you want favor towards like your boss, your king. Like, that's why I relate this to like a boss, because this is something we like, it's comparable in my opinion. Our king would be our president, but they're not really our king. We don't live in that type of, what is it, a monarchy? We don't live in that type of era. I think the UK has a king, and like, Australia and other places have prime minister, Canada and whatnot. But anyways, it doesn't matter. The point is whoever's your superior, right? Whether it be work or the military or business or whatever, if you want to find favor towards them, take all this stuff into account, because that person's going to give you favor back, all right? But his wrath is against him who causes shame. Yes, 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 yes. I can't say that enough. Man, like, I do get upset. Like, it takes a lot for me to get mad at my employees or fire them. But boy, when it gets to that point, I'm over it. I'm over it. Like, I'm done. We're done with this. Sayonara, man. I'm so sorry. All right, so sorry. We're at 35 almost 35 minutes. Fitting is 35 verses, a minute a verse. Good Lord. All right, be blessed by this chapter, Proverbs 14, wrapping it up. Be blessed. Hope you got something out of it.